Page tunes read. From the pages of Page Tunes Magazine Monthly, number 1, January 2024. Story and artwork by Michael Zigerlig. Bad Blood. In the dimness of my ancient castle, the shadows clung to every stone as I stirred from my long slumber. The air felt charged with an unfamiliar energy, and my crimson eyes flickered open to a world that had shifted in profound ways. It was no longer 1897. Blinking against the residual darkness that enveloped my chamber, I, Count Dracula, rose from my coffin and moved cautiously through the labyrinthine corridors of my castle. The air carried a different scent, a mixture of ages past and an unknown future. As I ventured outside, the moonlight bathed the landscape in a silver glow. Tall structures of stone and ancient wood reached towards the heavens, and the quiet rustling of the night echoed through the Carpathian Mountains. The air was crisp, and the only sounds were the distant howls of wolves and the occasional rustle of leaves. Draped in my centuries-old attire, I moved through the moonlit night, marveling at the unchanged beauty of the natural world. The once familiar sounds of nature surrounded me, offering a sense of continuity in the face of the unknown. The world outside was a canvas painted with shadows and moonbeams, a stark contrast to the bustling reality that awaited me beyond the castle walls. As I embraced the solitude of the night, I couldn't help but sense the ancient stones whispering tales of time gone by. The journey into this new era had begun, and I would navigate the shadows with the grace of a creature born of both ancient legend and the ever-changing tides of time. The cool night air bore the familiar fragrance of the wilderness enveloping my castle. Yet, as I strode further, the surroundings revealed a world transformed, challenging the very core of my existence. Gone were the horse-drawn carriages and the gas lamps that once guided nocturnal wanderers. Instead, towering structures loomed against the night sky. The stones under my fingertips felt unchanged, but the towering edifices that surrounded me were a testament to the passage of time I had slept through. I stood on paved roads, where the echo of hooves on cobblestone had been replaced by the muted hum of unseen forces. The once familiar pathways were now trodden by horseless carriages that sped by with an unnerving swiftness. The night held the residue of progress, and I found myself a relic in the midst of this perplexing landscape. With each step, I encountered strange symbols and signs, a cryptic language of the modern era. The glow of distant lights painted the night in unnatural hues, and the air buzzed with the unseen currents that powered these strange mechanisms. My keen senses, honed over centuries, detected the pulse of a world fueled by forces beyond my comprehension. As I gazed up at the towering structures of glass and steel, a sense of isolation gripped me. The solitude I once found in the quiet of my castle was replaced by the tumultuous chaos of an unfamiliar world. I, Count Dracula, a creature of the night, now stood on the threshold of a reality where the shadows seemed to dance to a different tune. The journey into this perplexing era continued, and I couldn't help but wonder how I, an ancient being, would find my place in this ever-evolving landscape. The Carpathian Mountains stood as silent witnesses to the passage of time, but the world around me pulsed with a rhythm that spoke of a reality I had yet to comprehend fully. Driven by the eternal hunger that stirred within me, I prowled the unfamiliar streets in search of the crimson essence that sustained my immortal existence. The city revealed itself as a maze of paved roads where horseless carriages zipped past with a velocity that defied my understanding. The once familiar shadows that had offered solace were elusive, and the city's well-lit thoroughfares became a labyrinth in which I struggled to find my footing. The denizens of this new world moved with a rapidity that made the pursuit of shadows a formidable task. The night, once my ally, now seemed to slip through my grasp like sand. The modern rhythm, an unrelenting beat, challenged my centuries-old instincts, and I found myself adapting to the ever-accelerating pace of the 21st century with a sense of reluctant acceptance. The journey into this unfamiliar night continued, and I found myself caught between the echoes of the past and the relentless march of progress. The night held both challenges and mysteries, and as I prowled the modern landscape, I couldn't escape the feeling that I, a creature born of a different era, was a lone figure navigating the currents of an ever-changing tide. In the shadowy embrace of an unfamiliar alley, I found myself drawn to a figure huddled in the darkness. The man before me bore the unmistakable signs of a troubled existence. Hollow eyes and shaky hands that bespoke a life entangled with modern vices. Intrigued, I moved closer, my senses attuned to the erratic heartbeat of a soul tainted by the complexities of this new age. Driven by an insatiable hunger, I decided to feed upon the life force that pulsed within him. Sinking my fangs into the man's neck, I expected the familiar surge of vitality that had sustained me for centuries. However, this feeding proved disorienting, as the blood I drew forth was thick with toxins, the essence of a life entangled with substances unknown to my ancient senses. The high-pitched heartbeat resonated in my mind, echoing the dissonance of a world in the throes of a different kind of darkness. The joy of feeding seemed elusive, replaced by a turbulent current of chemicals that left an unsettling taste in my immortal mouth. It was a far cry from the untainted essence that had flowed through the veins of those I had fed upon in the 19th century. As I withdrew from the feeding, the man slumped against the alley wall, his eyes reflecting a mixture of pain and momentary relief. The experience left me with a lingering unease, a realization that the blood coursing through the veins of this modern world carried with it a weight that transcended the physical. The consequences of this encounter lingered, casting a shadow over my understanding of the evolving nature of humanity. The disorientation that followed was unlike any I had experienced before. My immortal senses, accustomed to the purity of life force, recoiled from the chemical-laden blood. It echoed in my mind like a discordant melody, each pulsation of the addict's heart, a dissonant note that left me momentarily staggered. As I retreated into the shadows of the alley, the effects of the encounter lingered, casting a pall over my nocturnal pursuits. In my quest through the modern night, I soon discovered that even those untouched by the grip of addiction presented challenges of their own. The very sustenance upon which they thrived, their everyday food, bore the mark of an age saturated with chemicals and preservatives. As I sank my fangs into the necks of those who appeared untouched by the struggles of addiction, the taste of their blood was tainted by the unnatural additives that permeated their very being. The once pure essence of life was now clouded by the residue of a society that had embraced processed food. In my pursuit of nourishment, I encountered individuals who abstained from consuming animal products altogether, their blood devoid of the richness that had sustained me for centuries. Consuming such blood left me weakened. The once invigorating act of feeding had become a nauseating ordeal. The unnatural state of the blood, tainted by the substances that coursed through the veins of the modern denizen, left me grappling with a profound sense of horror. It was as if the very essence of life had been twisted and contorted, a grotesque distortion of the feeding I had known for centuries. I found myself weaving through the electric currents of city life, not only confined to the shadowy alleys, but venturing into the pulsating heart of human revelry. Clubs, high society events and galas that throbbed with the beat of modernity. As I mingled with the crowds, savoring the indistinct hum of laughter and music, I couldn't escape the profound realization that transcended the mere taste of blood. The intoxicating essence of these gatherings was laced not only with the chemicals that tainted their blood, but also with the subtle erosion of intellect and dignity. It seemed that, regardless of social standing, the modern age had cast its pervasive influence, leaving an indelible mark on the very fabric of human interaction. Amidst the dazzling lights and the orchestrated revelry, I bore witness to a collective descent, where the shadows of progress clung not only to the physical, but also to the intangible aspects of human essence. As the weeks passed, I found myself growing increasingly disillusioned with the world I had awakened to. The ever-accelerating pace of life, the cacophony of noise that pervaded the air, and the tainted essence of the blood I consumed weighed heavily on my immortal soul. The city, with its towering structures and neon-lit streets, became a maze that tested the limits of my ancient sensibilities. The once familiar solitude of my castle now felt like a distant memory, drowned out by the constant buzz of activity that permeated the modern world. I, who had thrived in the stillness of the night, struggled to find a semblance of peace amidst the relentless chaos. One fateful evening, as the neon lights flickered in the distance, I stood at the crossroads of time. The decision weighed upon me, resonating in the quiet chambers of my immortal mind. Returning to my castle became an irresistible pull, an escape from the overwhelming currents of the modern world. With a heavy heart, I descended into the depths of my castle, seeking solace in the silence of the ancient stones. The isolation of the subterranean chambers enveloped me like a familiar embrace, offering a sanctuary from the dissonance above. Retreating to my coffin, I longed for the peace that slumber could offer. As the lid closed, shutting out the unnatural glow and the relentless rhythm of the city, I whispered a hope for a future where the world might return to a semblance of the tranquility I once knew, a tranquility that seemed lost in the relentless march of progress. The journey into the depths of the night continued, and I sought solace in the timeless embrace of a slumber that held the promise of respite from the complexities of a world that had left me, an immortal creature of the night, yearning for the simplicity of ages past. If you've been captivated by the magic of this audiobook, here's how you can immerse yourself even further and support the creation of more enthralling tales for your enjoyment. Unlock the ultimate listening journey with a yearly subscription on pagetunes.com. No interruptions, ad-free, and exclusive access to the full library of audiobooks and ebooks. Download and enjoy captivating stories offline, anytime, anywhere. Whether through subscription or individual purchases, you play a vital role in bringing more enchanting stories to life. Explore the merch store, from cozy hoodies to stylish mugs and much more. Every purchase directly contributes to crafting more enchanting tales for your pleasure. Thank you and happy listening.